This next guest, I discovered him, although he was already existing, but I got to know him just a couple weeks ago when I followed a tweet that he put out there, and his tweet was the story of Twitter, how Twitter was born. Turns out that he joined Odeo in 2005, and he helped create Twitter. That's right, this service that we've been talking about all day long. This is one of the founders. When Odeo was dissolved, he joined Adobe for research and development of Pacifica. He co-founded the iPhone Dev Camp in 2007. Dollar App, he founded that at the Start Conference in 2008, and he's focused on producing specialized iPhone apps for a common price. His name is Dom Sagolla. And how we doing there? Is Dom on the line?
I'm on the line.
Hey, Dom, how you doing?
Hi, I'm trying to get my video hooked up, and
Okay.
we can just continue to talk as I futz with this a
Yeah,
little bit.
just plug that puppy in, and thanks for coming and hanging out in the chat room, and thanks for joining us here for a time to talk Twitter.
My pleasure.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me. It's my honor to help out in this good cause.
Have you had the opportunity to tweet that you're with us?
I did. So we should
Excellent.
have some people joining up soon.
There it is. Fantastic. So, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I said you were Twitter user number 8. You're number 9. So,
That's right. I had to go back and count, and I had posted number 8, and actually, you're right. It's number 9.
okay. So what we're actually looking for is number 8. So thanks for the call. We'll talk. No.
Okay, no.
So your story caught my eye. It's really interesting, and what I would love for you to do is to tell the story of how Twitter was born. And if you need another minute to get your video up and running first, we can wait a second because I'd love for people to see it. There you are. Oh, that's
you
a
see me?
still. That's a still.
Okay. Yeah, so this will have to do for now. I'm experiencing a technical difficulty.
Okay,
And I'd rather not
That's
mess
cool.
with it,
Let's
rather
jump
talk.
in, and I'm going to sit down here around the campfire and tell us how Twitter was born.
Okay,
Way
that's
back about
fantastic.
3 years ago, kids, there was a company called Odeo, and we were into podcasting. And podcasting wasn't taking off quite as fast as we'd hoped, and so our board asked us to reconsider our direction. And we had a brainstorming session, and it was an all-day thing, and I was lucky enough to be in Jack's group when he described his idea for a real-time distributed system that kept us in touch where we were on our phones via text. And at the time, I really wasn't into text messaging. I thought it was sort of a backwards technology. I'd kind of moved beyond it. I was thinking about the web on my phone and applications. But it was so simple and seemed so easy to do that we decided to implement it. And Jack and Florian and Biz, as well as Noah, were assigned to create a prototype. And after a series of demos where their idea sort of rose to the top. And the first concept went live on March 21st, 2006. And my first substantive post was number 38. And it says, "Oh, this is going to be addictive." And it seems prophetic now, actually. I've spent a lot of time trying to break that addiction in myself, trying to stop myself from tweeting all the time. And so I did an experiment once where I spent all day crafting a single tweet because I saw people were really using it obsessively, and I wanted to stand out and be a person that folks wanted to tune into, but maybe they didn't have to hear from me all the time. So I would literally spend all day not just crafting the words, but when to actually send it, because I knew folks were getting it on their phone. And I didn't want to waste an SMS message, because back then they didn't have, there wasn't a plethora of smartphones. It was mostly this T9 type of experience, and it was a stilted experience. So I knew that anyone sending me a tweet in this private alpha stage of the first time we were using it was somewhere on their phone thinking of me, and I'm getting it on my phone. And so it was a special sort of private community for a while. And eventually there was a point where we did have to change direction, and they brought the size of the team down completely to about half, and a bunch of us were let go. But we still were part of this community. We're still part of this early beta group. And I think we maintain a connection where we might not otherwise have stayed connected because of Twitter. And it was actually one of the best layoff experiences I've ever had, because I still maintain a friendship with the folks that I used to work with. And I'd visit every once in a while. as the service started to grow. And I remember the first couple of booms where they really got attention, and I happened to be in the Twitter office visiting just to poke my head in, and they were going live at South by Southwest, and there was this visualization in Flash of these tweets sort of floating across the screen in an animation, and they were debugging it, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna tag my tweet, I'm gonna reply to this user and see if it shows up on the screen. And sure enough, it did, but it was formatted wrong. And so I remember catching a bug just before it went live, just before um, the service went out onto the screens in the hallways of South by Southwest. And Biz and Jeremy were debugging it over the phone. It was a stressful moment, but it was really great to see folks understanding the power of it as they exited the hall, seeing their tweets on the screen as they walked towards the next presentation. So that was one big boom. There was another that came during the MTV Music Awards. There was another that came when they enabled the API and got instant messaging in there integrated, and RSS feeds. And each new feature would grow not only the user base, but also the number of tweets per user. So it was sort of growing exponentially at that time. And that's when Jack became the CEO and led the company through its boom times.
That, I mean, that really is. Did you guys have any idea? I mean, you said this is addictive, but honestly, did you really think that it was going to be this big?
Everyone asked me that, or a lot of people have asked that, and I distinctly remember feeling as if no one understands us. We're sort of this misunderstood group of revolutionaries or artists that it was so hard to describe what Twitter was. It was still growing and changing. The terminology was incomplete. And to this day, I still have trouble describing it because I think I've realized it's a different thing to each person. And to us, it was our private means of communication, and we were hyper-connected. And we were a super social group of people that really knew what each person was doing all the time. I mean, at that time, it was almost a segmented group of friends. Those folks who were on Twitter, I didn't have to have this sort of backstory conversation every time I got together with them. I just pick it up where they left off on their stream. And likewise, folks would find out what's going on with me, and they'd say, hey, I saw your thing about surfing. Let's go together. Or how's it work? How's it going at Adobe? And I saw your release that you had. And so it just jumpstarts those connections. And I have to continue to say, I mean, we really knew what we were doing. We knew we were creating something incredible, but we didn't know exactly how folks would use it. And that was the mystery.
So now, if somebody asks you, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, to describe Twitter in 140 characters or less.
Without cheating and looking at the website?
Yes.
Well, the way I do it is, it's what you're doing wherever you are in 140 characters or less. And the other way I'll describe it is, it's what you and your friends are doing wherever you are, wherever they are.
In 140 characters or less.
And you don't even have to say that. I mean, the restrictions, this idea that you have this short space and you have kind of one shot to get it right. There's no edit. Those are things people learn as they use it. But the idea that you can maintain a presence in near real time from mobile to mobile ubiquitously is a revolutionary idea. I mean, we have all the building blocks. We have SMS. We have the web and all the richness of new media. We have, in a lot of places we have data connectivity. But when you combine the richness of the web with the ubiquity of SMS, it's both the power and it's also the danger. I mean, there's a danger in using Twitter, as some folks have said over the course of the program, of getting too into it and getting obsessed and tweeting too much, and and people getting overloaded. And so I'm actually spending some time with a friend of mine, gathering some style tips and some means of sort of mastering this new medium. And a book that I'm writing, it's a style guide. I call it 140 characters. And we're in the process right now of getting feedback from the community and compiling a list of style tips. Not rules necessarily, but suggestions and opinions about how to do it most effectively.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Dom, you get 10 points for being one of the founders of Twitter, another 10 for telling the story, and 10 more for use of the word ubiquitous.
Nice.
So very, very impressive, and we're awarding points for good vocabulary here this late at night because we're in our 12th hour, and frankly, I'm feeling a little silly.
I think you're doing a great job, and I really
Well,
appreciate you having me on.
thanks very much. Appreciate you taking the time and come to tell the story. I think it's an important one, and keep doing what you're doing out there. You know, we're iPhone developers as well, and I think that that is also the future, right there in the palm of your hand. And I'm very interested to know as you create more apps to see what you're up to. So please keep in touch.
Right on. Well, anyone can learn more about the history and about the book at 140characters.com, 140characters.com. And you can learn all about my adventures in iPhone at dollarapp.com,
There you go.
dollar8p.com.
140characters.com. That's 140 and dollarapp.com. Dom Sagolla, thanks very much, man.
Thanks, Joel.
Have a
Good
good
luck.
night.